Is it easy to do mindfulness?
The techniques themselves are simple, but it takes discipline. It's a process. It's not just like overnight, you know, you're finished. It's a process, and in the long run, there's a whole deconditioning. There's a whole change in the brain pathways. You know, so it's a commitment. It's an absolute commitment. If you're not absolutely committed to a healing process with, you know, sugar addiction, it's not going to happen. The techniques that he created, I really wish I had had those in the beginning, because they're so much more practical. They really give you a handle on the mind-body process that's involved with this addiction. Whereas the other techniques, there's so much vagueness. You know, you follow your breath, or you just sit there and do nothing, and you can't get a handle. I mean, maybe eventually you could, but so with Shinzen's methods, you know, so much more practical. And I did a lot of things before I met Shinzen, but his methods were just so much more powerful, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to write this book, so that people could even achieve those dramatic results in a shorter period of time than I did. Because, I mean, with Shinzen's methods, people's compulsions, they can dissolve in seconds.
Seconds, really?
Honestly, I do these national seminars, and I'll have demonstrations with people, and yeah, their compulsion on a scale of 0 to 10 is start out with a 10, and a couple of minutes later they're at a 2 or a 1 or even a 0. And that's how powerful they are.
So mindfulness really worked for you?
Oh, absolutely.
That was the very effective method that
absolutely
helped you?
And I also have used other methods, cognitive behavioral methods, very, very effective. And I do talk about that in the book, and I actually present one specific way to work. And also, I really wish I had had a nutritional support system, and that's why I really wanted to hook up with a nutritionist, and that's why I'm so grateful to have met Paul, because he had the same interest in putting out a book around sugar addiction because of his own mother's serious addiction, which led to her death.
Shelly, if someone has a problem with sugar, what can they do for support?
Well, they could go to our website, which is breakoutofthesugarprison.com.
The name of your book, .com. Okay.
Yes, and they can get information then about working with Paul on the nutritional aspect of sugar addiction, and myself, the mindfulness aspect of the sugar addiction. Also, cognitive behavioral therapy is extremely useful, and I incorporate that into my mindfulness-based program, psychotherapy program. And also the 12-step program is a very supportive organization, Overeaters Anonymous, OA.org. It's another resource.
So someone listening to this video can actually work directly with Paul on the nutritional thing through the website.
Yes.
And they can work directly with you, getting specific mindfulness techniques and doing cognitive therapy.
Yes.
Both of those you're qualified to do.
Absolutely.
And then you're saying that in addition to working with you and Paul, any cognitive therapists and the 12-step or the 12-step type programs, those would all help.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's quite a range of possibilities for people then.
Yes, absolutely.
So you would say that the thing about the mindfulness was that it literally uprooted the compulsion and made you completely free.
Absolutely, Shinzen. Absolutely.
And
now, if I go back, I'm not saying that I'm cured. I mean, from what I understand about brain chemistry, is you always have those tendencies there.
Right.
So if I were to go back to eating sugar, there's a very good chance I could end up really getting seriously hooked into it. But there's absolutely no desire at all for it, and there's no thoughts about it. It's been eliminated absolutely 100% as an issue in my life.
So you don't have that sugar craving any longer?
No, absolutely not. And if I ever want something sweet, then I would eat fruit. So But there's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no maybes. There's no should I, or I wish I could. There's none of that. Zero. It's an absolute surrender.
Wonderful.
So what's distinctive about this book is that you describe both a state-of-the-art nutritional regime that Paul has contributed, and then you give these specific techniques that eventually allowed you to overcome completely. And those techniques are mindfulness techniques
Yes.
that the people that read the book can use.
Yes.
And those are the techniques that
Yes.
I created
Yes.
and taught to
Yes.
you.
And what's so wonderful is that the book goes so far beyond sugar addiction. So we're talking about every part of all the suffering in your life, all the compulsions, all the aversions and the cravings. That's what we're talking about here. This is way beyond any book you're going to get on the shelf about sugar, a sugar problem. There is nothing like that until, this book is really the first.